What's up? So tonight we will be doing King of the Hill Season 1, Episode 3, The Order of the Straight Arrow. So this episode starts off with, as it always does, with Bill, Hank, Boomhauer, and Dale talking about how Hank is gonna take Bobby and Joseph on the Order of the Straight Arrow retreat. Then we get a flashback to 1966, where we see Hank's dad, Cotton, teaching Hank and the others about the Order of the Straight Arrow. One guy named Ulysses talks. So Cotton breaks his silent stick in half. So Hank and the others are talking about their dream. Bill says about how he wants to drink beer for the rest of his life. Dale says about how he wants to kill. And Boomhauer's dream is Boomhauer. But Hank says about how he wants to work at propane and propane accessories. And then back in the present, Hank says, "Oh, American dream." Well, Hank, you do work. Your child itself was right. You do work at propane and propane accessories. So I don't know what he's talking about. So meanwhile, we see Bobby and Joseph playing with drills, and and they said, we're gonna make men out of those boys. So Luann's going to her mom's trial or something. It's literally just hey, Luann has something to do this episode, but we never see it. It's literally an off-screen business. So Peggy throws Luann out of the house and tries to rush the boys into going out. Meanwhile, John Redcorn shows up, played by Victor Aaron. Jonathan Joss would later play John Redcorn for the remainder of the series. And it's really weird hearing a different actor voice John Redcorn when I'm really used to Jonathan Joss. So they're like, hey, it's John Redcorn, your wife's healer. That was funny, because John Redcorn, we'd like you to help us out. And he's like, I would like to I'll protect your wife, Dale. I'll be with your wife, Dale. You wife-stealing pervert. Yes, John Redcorn is a wife-stealing pervert. He's sleeping with Dale's wife, and Lily asks him, I will stay with your wife, Dale. But then Dale's like, yeah, Dale being oblivious is like, I wasn't asking about that. I was asking about it for some Indian knowledge. And John Redcorn breaks into his Indian mode and talks about Indian stuff. So Hank puts Wamatala on the list and wearing headbands. Because, yeah, John Redcorn is a wife-stealing creep. No wonder Shade Dregs despises him so much. Watch Shade Dregs' channel. He's the best guy at doing a King of the Hill video. But yeah, I love it. I like that guy. But yeah, it's weird that John Redcorn is so obsessed with Nancy that he'll I'd rather want him to be with the Stranger Things Nancy than this one, because she's awful. I don't know if this one's off, if King of the Hill Nancy's awful too. But no, John Redcorn, we do not ship you and Nancy. We do not ship Jancy. We don't not ship them. So anyway. So Hank is like, oh yeah, here's some stuff that I want you to believe in, Bobby. But Joseph starts being suspicious. So they're like, hey, here's the silent stick. And he's like, that's just Slim Jim. And he's like, no, it's your silent stick, Bobby. Here you go. Because Hank is really aggressive this episode. I noticed that this entire episode. Hank is really aggressive. He even lets the children almost die just to prove a point. Yeah. He almost lets his son die just to prove a lesson. Wow, Hank. You literally let your own son and best friend's son die just to prove a point. And that kid's son is also there. The kid that Con stole the Simon stick from is also there. And then there's a guy kid named Gareth. I guess he's friends with that kid. I don't know. So yeah. So they say you can't talk. Hank pretends to fall asleep, literally almost letting them die just to say, "Gotcha, guys." Wow, Hank, you are the worst in this episode. Just kidding. Hank is not the worst. It's just that was a very risky scenario just to prove a point that you shouldn't talk. You're literally you pretend to fall asleep just to prove a point. Come on, Hank. So Boomhauer and Dale are taking separate vehicles, and Dale is mooning his friends and his son, his adoptive son, because his son's real father is John Redcorn, but not even Dale or Joseph know this because they're so oblivious to the fact that Joseph looks exactly like John Redcorn. Not even Joseph. How can you not notice that you look exactly like, that you have the exact same skin as Pervy McPerverson Redcorn? As wife sleeper McSleeperson Redcorn. How can you not realize that? I guess he's 13, but 12, but come on. So, yeah, there's the activists who Hank gets to the camp only to realize that the next neighbor over are activists who wanna promote activist things. Oh, activists. Why activists? I don't have a problem with activists, but why are there activists in this episode? So, yeah. So, Bill continues to be obsessive with Slim Jims, and Joseph continues to not trust Hank's word, and Hank continues to be an aggressive guy, while Peggy has a side story where she's happy to be home alone without Bobby or Hank. We literally see nothing of Luann's story. We see nothing of Luann's story. Luann's not even in this episode. Chanel is in the first part and is never seen again throughout the entire episode. I wonder how her mom's trial went, but we don't see it. We don't see it. I just wonder how her mom's trial went. I would have wondered how her mom's trial went. So Hank decides to make. So they find this. This bird, and it looks like it's dead. Then the cops come and they're like, "Hey, you found this." I'm sorry, I forget the bird's name. It's a black and red white bird. I forget what. So I'm just gonna call it the bird. I forget what it's called. So they find the bird and they find the bird and they think it's dead. So yeah, but then the activists see this and they're like, "Oh, they're totally discarding animals' names." The activists actually run over an eggs killing baby birds, baby chickens. So yeah, you can call yourself activists all you want, activists, but you literally just murdered an entire family of unborn chicks. Yep. And Hank and the others are meant to be the villains of the episode to them. But they just unknowingly stepped on a bunch of eggs, killing the chicks inside of it. How are they thinking Hank is the bad guy when he's... anyway, yeah. So Hank's almost... So Bobby tells Hank about the fact is, yeah. So Bobby tells Hank tells Bobby the truth, and that everything they said was a lie. And that's when the activists try to arrest Hank with the police officer, but that's when the bird miraculously regains consciousness and flies away. And the activists just are out of the episode. And for some reason, Joseph just appears in the scene. Like first we see Dale and Boomhauer, and then randomly Joseph just appears in the next shot. How did he get there? I don't know. It's just Bobby, Hank, Boomhauer, and Bill. And the next we see Joseph just randomly standing next to them. How did that happen? And yeah. And we see Peggy buying this thing. And that's kind of where the episode ends. This episode was a weird one. This episode was weird, man. John Redcorn trying to allude that he still wanted to protect Dale's wife because he's a pervert McPervertson. I thought Ezra Fitz was that, but nope, that's John Redcorn. Luann literally being absent from this episode, and yeah, everything was just weirdness. Weirdness. The activists killing a baby chicks, and not even realizing it as they try to target Hank for supposedly killing a bird. Wow, activists. You were totally in the wrong. If you're just gonna kill animals and not realize it, but you're gonna go after Hank for accidentally killing an animal, then who's the real villain of the episode? Is it Hank or is it the activists? Who really is the villain of the episode? Is it Hank or is it the activists? Tell me. Is it Hank or the activists? They think that Hank is doing something wrong, but then they kill a baby chicks before they're hatched, turning them into yolk. And they still think Hank is the bad guy. And after the bad guy the cops are just like, oh, Hank, I guess you're not at fault. Let's just go back to whatever we were doing previously. And the activists don't even try to fight for it. They don't try to fight. They're not even in the scene. After they call out Hank, they just disappear. But anyway, that was in order to kill. That was in the order of the spirit. In the order of the killing spirit. I forget. But this was a good episode. It was a weird one. But yeah, again, I did not like John Redcorn in this episode. I was like, whoa, John. He wasn't even asking you that. And Dale's whole obliviousness of not realizing what John Redcorn meant by protecting his wife. Yeah, Dale, he really wants to protect your wife by sleeping with her. Yep, another episode that makes John Redcorn a little... this is John Redcorn's second appearance, and I'm already disliking him. Hopefully, other episodes, John Redcorn can be actually good, because for this episode, I really cannot stand him. And he was only in one scene. That's how bad it was. He was only in one scene. I'm usually a big John Redcorn fan. I know last episode I said that it was weird that they made that they made Bill sexist. And in this episode, again, they show Dale is the worst friend ever by him trying to point all the blame on Hank. And he's literally about to abandon Hank. Yep, this episode shows Dale as how he's literally going to take... He's literally a sociopath. He literally doesn't want to... He literally wants to abandon Hank and leave him. So, yep, that was episode 3. Hopefully episode 4 is any better. Because that one has the Hank's idol. So anyway, next time we'll be checking out Hank's Got the Willies. And just good title, I guess. But that was the end of this video, and I'll see you next time I'll see you tomorrow, actually, when we review episode 4 and 5 of King of the Hill. Hopefully this season can get better, because this episode was straight up weird and uninteresting. When it was weird, hashtag John Redcorn, you intruder, stay away from Dale's wife. Stay away from Dale's wife, you pervy McPervertson. Hashtag do not trust John Redcorn from this episode. In other episodes, you can trust him. But this episode, he literally wanted... And also, how are he and John Redcorn friends? How are Dale and John Redcorn friends? I don't know how. But anyway, that was it for the video. And I'll see you next time for Hank Got the Lily. Hashtag stay away from anyone named John Redcorn who sleeps as your wife, Dale. Stay away from him. See ya.